Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here, and thank you to Hazal and to everyone who's made this event happen. Thank you for inviting me to assemble with others to participate in this global reading for freedom of expression and solidarity with Palestine, and solidarity with all people suffering from any of the myriad forms of oppression rampant in our current world. I'd also like to thank the others reading with me during this half hour. In the order of their appearance, they will be Norma Cole, Susan Gewirtz, C.S. Giscombe, Laura Mullen, and then I'll finish up. We're reading from the Ohlone and Coast Miwok territories, currently known as the San Francisco Bay Area, and we are all deeply honored to be with you all and to be all over the world with you. And now we'll turn it over to Norma. Thank you.
Just a heads up, Norma is not quite here yet, so we're going to go straight to Susan, but we'll get Norma on as soon as she arrives.
She's on her way. Hi. Thanks to Ghazal, Paminar, Cole, and all the organizers and readers for being here. I'm going to start reading from a new translation of Marina Svetseva's work called Poetry, actually called At the Edge, Political Poems. Lethe's underwater light, reef of the red heart, the lancet froze from fear, having opened the singing throat, not the red heat of volcanic vents, not the inflammation of filth, but an undissolved pearl in the bitterness of singing throats. Oh, we are faceting. We turn into liquid and die in vain, for the pearls are insoluble, voiced through a ray of light, with iron turned into a wheeze by 1,000 saws and drills. There is still an untreated thorn in the bitterness of singing throats. August 11th, 1922. Now I'm reading from the guides, a little pamphlet of my work just recently out from Antiphony Press. Eat dirt, night harvest, tangled in hypothesis, guide, glean from sleep fields, follow stubble, accuse of alienation from land and make them eat dirt. Serve, portion, unweaned, fallow, eat dust, day, plate. Cows with dirt inside them, parasites, degenerative. Who should know, slap better, the difference, the dead and withheld, disclosures of beekeepers, extinct ventriloquists, implore, talk back, reap, thresh, turn row, shut field. Registrar, detour wanderer, wait, fight for, or choose to be stateless, non-assimilant. I am not you, but still we meet on the path of paved mirrors. Keep your job, sanctioned, sealed, eloquent, shut. Reception, the reconciling, ask nothing, carve containers in air. Walk into, ledger, meticulous, registrar, paid to track, the fearsome by shine of timid cursive. Trace, who without birthplace, born without state, taxed without border, contained, mourn for stranger members, swimmers in their lanes, speak unto Ezra, the scribe, to bring the book to the orchard in the wilderness on the day of the first fruits. Spread a cloth, do no ordinary work. The expense of the journey is itself a tribute. Come forward, feast without roof, offer the burnt, cauterized lines between stars, but the still points move while the hand races to follow. I'm going to finish with a few poems from As Is, Tyrone Williams's book. Alhambra, to be seen and not, heard, herded, and yet heralded, ambidoxic, harem, primary colors, studded, headdress, cross-stitched, veil over, hollowed out. Passing goods. Primitive accumulations begin as annexations, sentimentalized as abandonment in latter days, land as land for water toward land, a staged decree, nay, climate change, territorialized exodus, a theatrical, complex, alchemical denominations, history, psychology as dialogue, aside, property per props, death throes as method acting, etc., woven into plots. In each act, as in each case, utter is a limit of failed, accomplished genitives, gerunds calcify, spectacles loaded into magazines, magazines loaded into machine guns, and guns abandoned by machines unload themselves. Relief felt, if not heard, around a world failing description, in whom I am well pleased. A blow up over England during the Battle of Britain, Joseph K. mourns his losses as he folds his many-vested coat into a future castle beyond the tower at Sandy Cove, and dreaming of the sloppy wet kisses between national whiskey and international waters, surveys the Celtic and Atlantic seas. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Cecil Giscombe, C.S. Giscombe, and thank you, Susan, and thanks also, of course, to Ghazal and to Cole for gathering us into this event. I'm honored and pleased to be here. I'll say a few words and read a couple of poems, perhaps. When I hear people refer to Palestinians as animals, it touches a familiar place in me as a Black American. I grew up in southern Ohio among white immigrant families from the hills of Kentucky, and Black families, like my own family, from further south. Both populations, migrants. It is interesting to me now that I heard the first casual racism and classism from the white fellows at the privileged all-boys Catholic high school downtown, where I was sent after the neighborhood K through 12 public grade school, Jane Addams, to get a better shot at a career than I would have had at the neighborhood high school on the poor side of town, the West Side. In the late 80s, when I was working as a literary editor, I found the Detroit poet Lawrence Joseph, a grandchild of Lebanese and Syrian Catholics, people who were among the first Arab immigrants to Detroit, and his poetry book, Curriculum Vitae. And in that book, I found his poem, Sand Nigger, which you will not find on the website of the Academy of American Poets. The poem concludes thus: outside the house, my practice is not to respond to remarks. The name fits. I am a light-skinned nigger with black eyes and the look difficult to figure, a look of indifference, a look to kill. A Levantine nigger in the city on the strait between the Great Lakes Erie and St. Clair, which has a reputation for violence. An enthusiastically bad-tempered sand nigger who waves his hands, nice enough to pass, Lebanese enough to be against his brother, with his brother against his cousin, with cousin and brother against the stranger. Sand nigger, the term. 10 years ago, Hamid Dabashi, writing on the Al Jazeera website, recalled this: in the North American lexicography of racism, when new waves of immigrants entered the scene, and did not quite match the binary of white and black, the white supremacist racism designated the term sand nigger to assimilate the newcomers backward into what it knew. I first heard the nasty slur sand nigger in the 1970s as a graduate student at the University of Pennsylvania, where the nascent waves of new immigrants visible in the student body had occasioned the term among the racist fraternities. I'm interested that his experience in a classy milieu, an Ivy League university, mirrors my own among the well-groomed lads in our sports jackets and ties in a parochial high school in the North. In terms of the N-word, Randall Kennedy, speaking at the University of Illinois in 2001, said, "It is the epithet that generates epithets. It is why Arabs are called sand niggers, and Indians timber niggers, why Irish have been called the niggers of Europe, and Palestinians the niggers of the Middle East." A few years later, the difference was perhaps not as fine as it was at the beginning of the new century. In 2007, at Guilford College, a Quaker school in North Carolina where I had once interviewed for a job, 3 Palestinian students were beaten up by members of the football team and called sand diggers. It was long before October 7th that I noted casual pejorative comments about Palestinians as animals, comments passing without a lot of notice here in the West. I think I'm attuned to such. And a couple of years ago in Missouri, the police chief resigned when people called him on his Facebook post. He posted, "That monkey needs to be put down like the wild animal he is." This in reference to a video of what appears to be a traffic stop involving a black man. What was he representing? When I see this stuff, the popular talk around Palestinians, it feels like I'm looking into a mirror. Thank you.
Hi, I'm going to read 3 poems. I'm ecstatic to have been invited to be here. It's amazing to enter a space where one can speak, where one is invited to speak. I'm going to start by reading a poem from Alice Notley's Grave of Light. It's called In the Dark Eye. In the dark eye, pretend that I hold you. This sort of obsession is a political correction too. For the lover will find him, and the people are you. The next poem is from ETC. It's called Non-Disclosure Agreement. Are there things I can't say here? Things we've agreed there's no way to say? Are those tears in your eyes as you shush me to catch the chorus, land of the, home of the, insisting again on your version as you force me to stand with one hand held over as if to hide or shield my heart in the fog of feelings that don't matter unless they are the right ones, yours, as you usher in the suits, the uniforms, believe they can both die for and live to become someday as the arrests start because your objections are patriotism. And my objections are chaos. And you want me to listen to you first, but mostly you want me to hear the silence without me. Is it better? It must be better. Everyone will be so free and brave if I just and loving. The gun will lower, the hard gaze below the brim of the helmet behind the riot shield will soften and glow to resemble the face of the goddess Elsie and all of her incarnations, laughing, urging us all to indulge ourselves, healthy and happy until there is nothing but the sound of joyful cows singing, everyone almost crying with happiness, sniffling into the wadded paper napkins around the juicy burgers, slurping vanilla milkshakes, and weeping with gratitude for the cows and the country where everything is so wonderful. Everything is so wonderful. All the time, except there's a lot of, but it's treatable, absolutely, depression, not to mention pain. And if I would just shut the fuck up, stop voting, or say something nice for once, can't you say something nice? If you can't say anything nice, you should just be quiet and it will all be great again, just like it was before, immediately. And the third poem is about my abrupt retirement, occasioned by a pro-Palestinian post, and it's called Guzzle Gaza. What if the words of a poem could enter flesh like shrapnel, shatter bone, turn organs to mush. I'd hold my breath. I couldn't bear to smash a living being. Each life is hope made flesh. Some people want to claim honesty's dangerous. Hush. Words alone won't destroy a house or dismember flesh. The college I worked for brought George W. Bush to talk about leadership and character. News flash. He has nothing to say about either. Blabs some trash about art. He's doing oils, daubs of flesh-colored flesh for the veterans we betrayed for revenge and cash. Some people like to pretend to like art and flesh. When, in October, I said I understood the vengeance, harsh, of the oppressed, the provost said I was no longer flesh of their flesh. I resigned, fled the state, getting bashed in the mosh pit of history by haters desperate to flesh out my punishment, rape her, impoverish, wishes for my death, vows to mutilate my terrorist flesh. I saved the posts and messages, recorded the furious, hushed voices hissing, "I will kill you, cunt." One meaning of flesh, verb, is to give, to hound or hawk, dead game, to nosh, to incite it. I was that gobbet of bloody, rotting flesh. A figure of speech. Still, gigs and invitations vanish. So what? Here I am, alive, safe, allowed to put flesh of image on bone of fact. Gaza is being extinguished. Laura Mullen, my form is yours. My flesh, your flesh. Thank you.
I'm going to read from Alibi Lullaby first. Island for Silence. Scent of fennel in summer, midsummer nights, massacres continue. That crinkling shovel sound is muse or not. The sign's shape sign, flat as a verse. And nothing like lost knowledge, a shovel, the secret hello, the soldiers, news from the heart of the meter, blurry reconstruction, still standing on the corner, gutty lossy, the big star formation, the chance to understand something like hallucinations or power dynamics tip over, words not meant where massacres continue on summer nights. Night watch. Rearrange the disturbance itself in the field. The night, the baby. Whom should I send? The question don't fit. The drop stitch, it needed to go. Forgotten lament, the baby itself. No compass, but cement itself, the chosen agent. Gentle summons, illusion, urgency, agency. Outside the lines, can you hear me? Things themselves unfinished as children encounter in the ledger. Can you erase hunger? Dust shot on the ridge, fell for it in alignment, light hitting the plant, bomb or leaf, fusion jumps to conclusion, fall under the apprehension of seeing and looking away. a scattering, open across conditions of survival, harmonic device, inner life, the instrument. And this is the image of articulation, protected. Show it, the exact location overlooking a tree, any distant planet, exact conditions, alibi equals elsewhere. Your mirages claim a piece of evidence. Images remember the cadence. Think of others. And while I'm thinking of others, I'm thinking of Mahmoud Darwish. His poem, Think of Others, which is online, translated by Mohammed Shaheen for Interlink Books. Think of others. As you prepare your breakfast, think of others. Do not forget the pigeon's food. As you conduct your wars, think of others. Do not forget those who seek peace. As you pay your water bill, think of others, those who are nursed by clouds. As you return home to your home, think of others. Do not forget the people of the camps. As you sleep and count the stars, think of others, those who have nowhere to sleep. As you liberate yourself in metaphor, think of others, those who have lost the right to speak. As you think of others far away, think of yourself. Say, if only I were a candle in the dark. Thank you.
Cole, I'm sorry, but you're muted right now.
Sorry about that. I'm going to start with a poem by May Ziadeh, a Lebanese Palestinian writer, translated by Rose Demaris, and it will be coming out in the next issue of Fence in the translation section, which will be coming out in the spring. It's titled Telepathy. Memory is a dead leaf at dusk. I feel it brushing up against you. Faustine, you're usually so warm, but tonight your plump lip twists into a tight bitten bud. Cool and distant, you stare as if careless into this fountain. You've fooled the others, but I know why your eyes go velvet with shadow, then glossy with dream. They follow one imagined figure and fall spent and brittle on to that crystal plain. The sea is smooth, but tranquil waters don't please a heart so drunk on swallowed tears. You pine for summer's wilder waves. You dab on your old perfume to reawaken what has passed. Faustine, Faustine, you are sweet, naive. To your childlike soul, I know his melody clings like lullaby. And I'm now going to read a few pieces from a book titled Veer that will be coming out in the spring. Crows. Huge flocks of crows today, haunting their way out of autumn, calling, and austerity comes into being. A crow sent an arrow, and carefully, gently, it had all the soft falling of fall, and it was aiming, for who knows what the heart is or where it's going. And what about the sharp edges? Yes, maybe that's it. that the heart gets more and more pointed, and once fletched with the feathers of a crow, it becomes its own compass and scrambles the cardinal directions. Crows cawing the air, all of it, and climbing, bearing it raw into their evening and well beyond, cloaked in ghosts, and then off into their dark arcades, to occupy all of sound, a haunt of heart, and the whole outside world in a separate beat. And then they're off again, around the side of the hill, where they will live differently and forever. Hawk, as charged, a lamp in flight, as lit inside, as happens to the living when on edge. We all live on edges, of course, but the hawk can actually sculpt them, her wing being a blade, and its slice, its cut, opens things up, and some of them let in light. And yet shadow persists. Hawk, dark hawk against tree bark, hark darkening, its evening deepening, so that the distinction between hawk and tree becomes increasingly specious. A hawk came to me one night, or a hawk came to me in the night. I'm trying to think out this difference, but it's difficult, given the insistence of this hawk flying straight toward me. Or is it a falcon, or maybe an eagle? And as I'm toying with this problem of identity, yet another large raptor flies right on through me. A crow in a storm. Through a screen of rain, a single crow seen, a stain on the green of the tree that she's sheltering in, which darkens as the downpour increases, as does the sheet of rain, which is now almost as black as the crow, who feels more and more at home. Owl. A talon outward is darkness now pointed, articulated, double-jointed, flipping the night inside out, revealing its lining of tarnished silver, the backside of a mirror in which everything is again reversed. The owl, too, now inverted and shocked by the sight of the daylight inside her. Crow again. Why does the crow always win? Why is a crow always older than man? Older, in fact, than anything else in sight? What makes a crow always right? One had perched on a streetlight just coming on and became night. And I'm going to end with a couple of pieces from the wonderful anthology, Another Room to Live In, which was edited by Omar Barada and Sarah Riggs and published by Litmus Press. And it's a collection of 15 contemporary Arabic poets. And I'm going to start with one by the Kurdish poet Holan Haji, and these two poems are translated by Marilyn Hacker. To my youngest sister. Sister, I am you. Your shoes are little arcs for frightened animals. They are me looking at you. No dog barked when the two small strangers came to the blind orchard, where their grandfather's curse flapped overhead like the clatter of his shrine's door. You play the role of the prey. You are dying in a place I know like the palm of my hand, and I cry, tormented in a locked room. The ceiling fan questions your neck, your long, inscrutable silence. My own silence that unlooses the din of your heart, because everything is frightening now. The intruders are behind you. Stretch out like an invalid under the covers. You lose yourself in the clouds with the tears I begged you to hold back. Now my body is the sole site of my suffering. The kiss that waited so long to arrive on your cheek found it cold as a stone in the rain. And the next one, to Akad Nizam al-Din. And again, this is Holan Haji, translated by Marilyn Hacker. They speak to you of roofs, but what about the depths? The light of your eyes will be enough for you to leave by the tunnel drawn on the wall. Enter it without looking back. That metallic noise in the dusk is only the rust on the locks and the door hinges. You will cut into the cypress fruit to smell it, and you'll hum a tune as beautiful as you are. Your heart is your rowboat, and your dream will bring you back from beneath the earth. On the other side, there is a song I never listened to with you, and the school books you blasted apart with a rifle at the gun club because you venerate nothing. And I'm going to end with a last one by Sukaina Habiballa and translated by Yasmin Seal. And it's also in this anthology. Bedtime story. For years, says the granddaughter, I got it wrong. I see you taking out your teeth to plunge them every night in water. I alone drowned, tried to cry out, but the bubbles streaming from my mouth were powerless to help. Who are you in this story, grandmother or wolf? The trail of claw prints in my mind leads me straight into your hands. Who are you in this story, grandmother or wolf? No, it was not winter. Only your words combined with spray from your blank mouth like a blizzard chilling my bones. I looked for an escape, but the only one I found led straight to nightmares. I went in heedless. I went in shivering and came out soaked. I will never understand why it brought you such distress, because it warmed my nights. You wanted cold as tombs. Who are you in this story? Who are you in this story? And like the wet patch on my bed, for years I spread my fear in the sun to dry. The fear evaporated, but its smell remained, sharp, burning the eyes, every eye. I tried and could not. I tried and could not. I could not hide it. Everyone who set foot in my life detected it and ran away, and kept running, Malala, and kept running, Malala, leaving me here to blame you, your false teeth, your petrifying stories, the stones where your eyes should be. Now tell me, honestly, why was it so hard for you to love me like the grandmothers in all those bedtime stories you never told me? Thank you very much.